Hello, and welcome to the Stories of Woe. I am Thesselmere, your host for this fine night, evening, morning. Tonight, I will be telling a chilling tale called The Trees. Enjoy the show.
Hey, my name is Simon, and I am one of a family of 5. My family and I are a group of hunters. We stayed back at the farm while my dad had gone out hunting on his own. Upon his return, he told us to come and see what he had found. We put on our coats and hiking boots and gone out into the cold. We hiked a long ways into the forest, sometimes slipping in the mud of the recent rainfall. We were walking as a group. I was kind of in the middle while my brother and mother was behind me, while my sister and father were in front of me. My father led us down a long and narrow, winding path, and we happened to come across a kind of large dirt opening where there was this strange tree. It was spindly and wispy, and it oddly had berries on it. But not just any berry. It was like a pink strawberry. There were about 12 of the berries in total, and there was a strange worm with hair and clothing. She had knocked down all of the berries except for one, and for some reason, that's the one that she wanted, because she didn't want the ones that hit the ground. I had kept my back turned on my brother and mother. I had turned around when we had reached this opening and seen them both, but my brother was facing his back at me, and my mother's face was obscured by the tree. My little sister was running around, just in front of me, but she ended up going towards Mother, and at that point I lost eye contact with her. The worm, by this point, had climbed up the tree and had plucked that single strange pink strawberry off of it. She then climbed down and started carrying it towards a hill, which is where my father was walking up, and he was telling us to come along. For some reason, Father did not stop and notice the strange worm. He just kept walking forward. Again, I'd wish I had kind of looked back for a little bit longer, but I didn't. We had made it to where Father wanted to take us. It was an old abandoned cabin. It was super cool. We kept moving forward without looking back. The cabin sat on a hill. Behind it was a very large mountain. Trees surrounded it, and overgrowth was consuming it. We walked up towards the door, and it was unlocked. Father said to set up the tent, 'cause we were going to hunt at first light. Finally, I realized something. "Where did everyone go?" I asked. My father looked around and called for the rest of the family. They didn't answer. Father grabbed his flashlight and headed back outside. I followed after, forgetting my own light. We walked out and started yelling for the family. It was just me and Father. We walked all the way to that odd berry tree. To my horror, I saw that worm. She broke her neck, trying to push the still bright pink strawberry up the hill. But she was just a skeleton. Her hair had become wispy and spider silk-like, and her clothing dried and crispy like she had been there for years. But I know that she hadn't been, because the berry was still fresh. I looked around the opening and didn't see the family anywhere, despite knowing that I had seen them previously, not too long ago. I couldn't find their tracks. I couldn't find any sign of them. Where did my sister go? Where did my mom go? Where did my little brother go? It was weird. Then I heard my father shout for me. I ran to him, and he shines his light on my sister's tent. When did she even have time to set up her tent? Why didn't she tell us to stop? I had to investigate. Everything was laid out. She had pulled out everything out of her backpack and everything. It seemed like they were ready to camp there, even though we hadn't made it to our destination yet. But that would mean that Mother and my brother also had to join her, because their tents are also set up nearby. I couldn't help but notice that most of their things were thrown out outside of the tents, like if they were being ransacked by a stranger or a bear or something. But even still, if they were in danger, we were close enough by that they could have screamed for help. Breaking my train of thought, my father got my attention by talking to me, saying that he sees something moving out in the forest. He described it as large and swinging from the trees like a monkey. We already know our forest pretty well, and that we don't have monkeys. It's just not that kind of forest. He paused for a moment and was getting a real good look at something. I couldn't tell what it was, because I couldn't get a good visual. But he just said, "What the hell is that?" And then quickly grabbed my shoulder, threw me in front of him, and told me to run. So we did. I took point. He was behind me. And again, I wish I had turned around. So he was the only one with a flashlight, because I had forgotten mine. I was running for the cabin because it was the closest thing for shelter we had. I was relying on my father's ability to keep the flashlight stable so I could see my path in front of me. I just ran. It was hard, as we were climbing up a fairly steep hill. Then for a brief moment, my father's flashlight had kind of gone out, and he had made a sound like if he'd tripped or something. Didn't bother me, I was still going, and before I knew it, the flashlight was back to shining up the path again. Somehow, he managed to catch up with me. He shouldn't be able to move that fast uphill. It's just impossible. Then I heard him say, "We better hurry." It sounded kind of like my father, but it was definitely something pretending to sound like my father. And just like that, I was grabbed from behind. I felt like I was being levitated, because I didn't really feel a weight holding me up, if that makes sense. I felt like I was being carried by something with hollow bones, and that's why it could move so fast to catch me. But I was raised way up into the trees. I was freaking out, and I was trying to struggle free. It was impossible though, because I couldn't break free. Even when I looked back, I couldn't see what was holding me up. It was like it was ducking under me somehow, and it just wasn't there, like if I was being held up by an invisible force. I felt like I was being presented to something, or for something, and then, again, I was snatched away at unbelievable force. I couldn't help but scream on the top of my lungs in panic. I'm panicking. I can't control it. I'm trying to struggle free, but I can't. It's dragging me towards the mountain. How am I supposed to get free? Where is it taking me? Is this it? Is this how I die? What's going to happen to us? What happened to us? Where did we all go? Would anybody remember us? Our other family don't even know where we are. Nobody remembers where we are. We didn't tell anybody where we went. We just disappeared. Will anybody find our bodies? This is it. I know this is it. I'm going to die. Was it going to be painful? Was it going to be slow? Was it going to be horrible? Or was it just fast? I'm drawing closer to the mountains now. I don't think anybody's going to remember us. I just start screaming and screaming. This was it. This is how I die. My stomach felt hollow, knowing the truth. My screams echoed throughout the forest as I drew closer to that horrible mountain.
Well, that is the end of our woe. I hope you enjoyed. And if you did, give us a like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and don't be afraid to comment below. Tell us your theories on what happened. What do you think? Is there really monsters out in the forest? Until next time. This has been Thesselmere, your host, saying good night, good morning, good evening.